Hello, Local 304. Time for another business manager update. I wanted to start out with the COVID numbers. Local 304 is really growing our cases recently. We have 8 just in the past week. Excuse me, and one of them is hospitalized. I haven't got an update yet on the condition, but 3 at Wolf Creek. And that became a bit of an issue because there's some carpooling that had gone on, and so the company is looking at those folks that were carpooling with the positive case and looking at not paying administrative leave, that they would have to take some other form of paid leave. So we are involved in that discussion. Next Wednesday, we'll have a follow-up meeting. We do a weekly coronavirus call with Evergy, and so we're going to dedicate time to talk about the proper expectation for those that are both in accommodations and how they use their paid leave, and then also if the company is making rules that impact your ability to have that administrative leave. So more to come on that information, and from the union standpoint, we just need to make sure that there's clear expectation for the employees out there and how they're treated under the COVID stuff. So we did a protocol document early on, but we kind of set that aside, and I think we're all kind of getting lulled a little bit here, and we need to make sure that the company's doing the right thing. Had, like I said, 3 at Wolf Creek, 3 at Evergy, Local 304 members, and then 2 at K-Gas. Overall in Evergy, Local 304 has had 15 cases, which is about twice as much as any other local union involved in the Evergy corporation. So need to be paying attention to that and making sure we're doing the right things. Talking about Kansas Gas also, that contract has some very clear language in there that talks about 720 hours out of 1,000 being spent in another classification, means that the company then would show that it needs to post that position. So one of the ways we do that is making sure that if there's an open position and you're performing that work, that you code time to that so that we can track those hours. So I thought everything was working smooth on that, but it sounds like maybe your supervisor is the one that actually makes that time entry for you, or assignment number. So we put an information request out to the company, and when we get that information back, we'll have more of a discussion. But please track that so that we know, for example, storeroom or engineering assistant work, that gets properly managed. We, obviously, the company manages the property and determines numbers and classifications, but that contract has that language that levels that playing field, so we need to make sure that's happening. Talk a little bit about Evergy. The system council discussion is continuing. I think we feel that we've got our bylaws where they need to be, and so I will be reading those at the October 8th meeting and then accepting a motion to approve so that that can get sent off to the IO. Now, all that document does is talk about how we form the local unions into a system council. So it doesn't have anything to do with the contract, doesn't have anything to do with how we end up in our negotiations of that agreement, but just the playing field for the rules for the playing field of how the unions interact. So October the 8th local meeting, we will read that and have discussion on it. We are continuing to work on that master agreement, and we're hoping that we'll get to a point where we can sit down and meet with the company on that as soon as we get those bylaws approved, and hopefully December or January-ish we can have the conversation about the commonality between all of the agreements and how those things then are negotiated with the company. So take things like wages, benefits, grievance procedure, things that are common to every agreement. And so we've sat down with the business managers and the contracts and viewed that to see who's got the best language for those common issues. So that's where that's going right now. Meter department. We've got guys working over in KCPL land helping out with the backlog of collections. And now it was announced yesterday that there's a buyout, in 1613, which impacts about 5 FSPs, I believe. And so we need to pay attention that we're living to that MOU. It's supposed to sunset, I believe, 1st of November. And so if you're going to continue to work there, then we need to renegotiate that MOU because that is working across company boundaries. The last thing I have with Evergy is that through the merger, there's been a lot of different policy changes. And we need to be made aware anytime you see anything change so that we can address those issues that are past practices in the contract. Anything that we were doing previous needs to be negotiated if it's going to change. So recently we found out about gym memberships. So we're working on that currently to get that addressed. But that's just an example of the different policies that could change. And so please keep us informed of those changes. Y'all know that Gator is going back to work, and so he'll be vacating his position the 1st of January. Today is the final day to accept resumes for his position, and we'll be interviewing next couple of weeks and getting somebody out there. One of the things that both Gator and I experienced in taking these jobs was a very short amount of time to acclimate to the folks that are in the agreements in the local areas. So we're trying to do a better job of that by getting somebody out there for a couple of months to run around Shadow Gator and get familiar with everything that happens on the east end of the state. Line clearance, again, I want to encourage the brothers and sisters in line clearance that they get that Unions Get It app on your phone. Make sure your membership is up to date. Keep your benefits whole. Especially whenever you're working on non-union property. If you're carrying the agreement with you that you get on Evergy property, then that doesn't guarantee you the benefits. So we need to make sure that that's being taken care of. So check that app. Got any questions, give the office a call. We can help you. Unions Get It is the name of the app. You go out to the Play Store, download it on your phone. You sign in with your last name and your card number. It has all of our contracts on it, bylaws, and you can pay dues and view your membership information on there. Keeping us informed of address changes and keeping you informed of where you're at on your dues, and also push notifications and whatnot. We will be starting line clearance negotiations. Opening letter goes out October 1st. So looking at when we can get a committee formed so that we can start moving that direction on a new contract. Speaking of new contracts, Western REA, I know that we talked about this for sure in meetings, that Western had a little trouble with their contract negotiations. We ratified, and when the board saw it, they did not approve it, and so we had to meet again. And as it happened, the board saw the light and did approve the new agreement, and so they got a 2.5, 275, and 3 with a little clothing bump and no takeaways. So good job out there, Western REA members. Congratulations on that. Last thing I want to discuss today is the political landscape. We know that we're just 40 days or less out from the election, and there's probably the biggest political divide that in my memory of what's going on in the current administrations. And Local 304 only supports local candidates. We will look to the AFL-CIO for endorsements. Those are out on our webpage. Everything else is just political education, right? Local 304 will never tell you what candidate to vote for. We only try to give you the information so that you can make an educated vote. You're going to be seeing some more information coming out from us on some of that education piece. International President Lonnie Stevenson has been placed on a transition team, and so that's generated some more information for us to be able to get out to you guys. So look forward to any opportunities to gain that education. But again, your vote, your decision. So I appreciate you, Local 304. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you soon.